Hey, Roger Martin here from Billings, Montana. I don't know if these are beetle wings or beetle shells, I don't know. But the insects use levitation, and this is incredible. Watch this. Look at that. It hovers over the other piece perfectly. So insects, bees, dragonflies, other things, use this levitation in their wing design to fly. It's the sound wave they make with this levitation that makes them fly. And it's sound waves that are connected with magnetism and with other things, anti-gravity stuff. All these are energy waves. Incredible. So they think that they use levitation in different forms to move these stones, to build these temples, to make that coral castle somehow in Florida. Listen to this.
So there you have an idea how Viktor Grebennikov built his little levitation device out of bugs' wings, because he figured out how these things work. And then we get to the cone-shaped tools in the Rosicrucian Museum. Somebody emailed me today saying, hey, he went and he saw these cones in the Rosicrucian Museum in San Jose, and they're really there. So he was surprised that I wasn't making it up. He said, I blew his mind. And yeah, and they are written, can you see cuneiform texts that actually commemorate the building of the temples in Sumer, and one of them specifically refers to the temple of Inanna. So somehow they were used, just like Ed Leeds Colnan was levitating the giant rocks of Coral Castle, they were using these to levitate those giant stones of the temples of Sumer into place. And here is our friend, Ed Leeds Colnan, Coral Castle. And he levitated those giant blocks. I think the biggest stone there weighs 30 tons, or maybe even more.
This guy built this Coral Castle in Florida. 30 tons or more. He learned how to levitate them with the moon and other things, magnets, other things. He levitated them in place after they were cut out. And we couldn't even do that with heavy machinery without leaving cracks and scars and other things. Incredible story. Now listen to this about our eyes and cones and retina. It's incredible. We are starting to learn this stuff, and we didn't even know about it. We weren't taught correctly. This miseducation, misinformation is so incredible.
Right in the middle of your brain is your pineal gland. Correct. So somehow our pineal gland should be controlling our eyes and our optic nerve. And our pineal gland should be picking up all these other frequencies, the all-seeing eye of Horus, connecting us to everything, every frequency, and giving us ESP ability and much more. But we can't do that because those bastards several thousands of years ago screwed up our pineal gland with those cones of theirs. But if you look at our eyes, so in our eyes, in the iris is actually like toruses. Right? Look at the toruses in the eyes. And the toruses have lenses in them that focus the light, which is also sound, because every light frequency has a sound frequency attached to it. So it sends the sound and the light through the lens, through the center of the torus, into the cones in the retina. So now you understand why I get excited about these toruses or the cones combined as tools that could be used to do things that we can't even imagine yet. We've got this technology encoded in ourselves, and this is why when I say that we are advanced technology, people don't get it. We
are advanced technology. Our retina, our cones, these lenses, all deal with frequencies and light and energy. We have to wake up and rethink what we've been taught. A whole world exists at a level that we're not being taught, unfortunately. So now he's going to talk about these pyramids, alignment to the earth and the moon and the sun. They work whether or not you know how to use them or not.
Because all stones have crystal in them. So it's like hitting enter on your computer. Bing! It switches the machine on, and the machine does whatever function it's supposed to do until the sun moves over there, and then the beam comes through another passage, and then hits the sun, the light, and the sound of the sun beams or sunlight hits another stone, and it makes the machine either stop whatever it was doing or perform some other function. And this is why they are aligned with the movement of the sun. So they work whether they're being operated or not. We don't have to sit there and wait and keep making it work. It works on its own. It's powered by the sound of the earth and activated by the movement of the sun. I mean, it's bloody brilliant. It's so simple. And now we're figuring this out, and we know that the energies are still there, because this is a photograph taken of the pyramids, and there's still huge energy coming out of the pyramids. Even the symmetrical patterns coming out of Stonehenge, although Stonehenge has been completely reconstructed, there are still very powerful symmetrical patterns coming out of Stonehenge that tells us that its original structure is...
Incredible stuff, all I can say. We're just scraping the surface. Wow, mind-blowing. This is incredible.
I picked up this bloody energy grid that's up in the sky. It's just everywhere.
He's talking about a guy which measures these energy grids around the earth. He tried to disperse it, and it's only temporary, it comes back. These ancient used these energy grids to move massive amounts of stone perfectly. They knew stuff beyond what we know.
It's like a matrix. It's like it consists out of ones and zeros. It's like a binary code, powerful energy field up in the sky. And he said he sent up a few energy beams or these devices to try and break it. He says it breaks it momentarily and it instantly reforms. You cannot destroy it. He says you can't break it. It's indestructible. And I just realized that all this ancient stuff that we're dealing with, just like I said, these ancient machines are just advanced technology on a gigantic scale. These obelisks in Egypt, they ring like bells. If you listen to them, they ring like bells, just like those stones in my museum. And when you go into these temples in Egypt, you know, we told that they were built for this and offering. It's all nonsense, offering and praying. It's just too many pillars, not enough space. When you look at them from this angle, you realize that this is just something very different. And all those pillars clustered together, why would they build them like that? And then the more I looked at it, the more I realized, now inspired by realizing that the stone circles were powerful energy-generating devices, suddenly seeing aerial photographs of these temples in Egypt, I realized that they weren't temples, but they were actually templates. That we're actually looking at gigantic energy circuits, circuit boards on a gigantic scale that we could never have imagined. It's
gigantic energy circuit boards that we could have never imagined. Does it remind you of the computer chips and other things? These people were far above us in technology. We're starting to get an idea. Look at how they look like circuits.
Just beyond our imagination. The scale that these guys were building things on is something way out of our perception, because we just don't have enough money to do that. And microprocessors, gigantic microprocessors become gigantic macroprocessors. You know, and here we are told that these were places of worship, and then this is where the people lived. No, these are giant bloody macroprocessors, and that's part of the circuit board. You know, it's what it is, and you can start seeing that the pyramids were the same thing, giant powerhouses, creating huge amounts of energy. And just, you know, you start seeing things and recognizing how all this fits into ancient history. Saksai Huaman is also just a giant circuit board. When you look at images from the air, you realize it's just a giant circuit board. It's not a fortress on top of a mountain to ward off marauding crowds and guys on horses and spears. No, it's a giant circuit board. And Borobudur in Indonesia, I mean, look at this. This is just insane. It's like just by looking at it, you see it actually resonating in front of your eyes. It's actually moves. And look at the top of Borobudur. That doesn't tell you that these are energy-generating devices shooting stuff into the sky. So all of these ancient temples and structures somehow were built, or many of them, to generate energy and shoot it up into the sky. So it seems like these are the devices that seem to keep this energy grid up in the sky. And possibly this is a matrix that keeps us enslaved and dumbed down and and unaware of what's going on outside of our own planet. What is actually out there? What are we looking at when we look up at the sky? As I said, I no longer believe anything that NASA shows me. And it seems that the human sound was actually the source of the energy that holds up the matrix in the sky. Because you find these beautiful amphitheaters attached to what used to be these circuit boards. So they get a bunch of people into these amphitheaters, get them excited, they make a lot of noise, and they channel that sound into the circuit board. It activates the machine, and it starts to make a noise or whatever, and shoots the energy up into the sky.
Mind-blowing. I'll leave the source for this. You can watch the full thing. We got to rethink what we're doing and what we've been taught. We have not been taught correctly. Again, this is Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day.